Ooh.
Okay, I was a little too quick on the buttons there. I stopped the YouTube feed before we addressed that other issue that was out there, which was the request to review bond. Now, there's no formal motion. This is going to be an oral motion by Mr. Bush in this case. And so just let me get myself organized here. So, of the cases that are pending, 2023445 is the case from July 28th, 2020. And it is the possession of methamphetamine, drug double, possession of amphetamines, drug double, possession of analogs, drug double, R&O, and malicious destruction of personal property, the misdemeanor, as a habitual third, which means if convicted at trial of, well, the prosecutor would have to opt for either the drug double or the habituals for the drug charges. So either way, it results in a doubling of the maximum. If it's the drug double, it doubles the minimum guideline range also. So anyway, that's a possession of methamphetamine, normally a 10-year would become a 20-year. Possession of amphetamine, normally a 4-year would become an 8-year. Possession of analogs, a 2-year would become a 4-year. R&O, which is not subject to the drug double, if convicted as a habitual third, would go for a 4-year to an 8-year. And the malicious destruction of personal property is not affected. And let's see. So in that case, Mr. Chambers was arrested on July 28th, and he posted a bond in that case. And then another bond was posted, and another bond was posted when he got rearrested. So that's the first in time case. So he was that one. And then the next one is this 2023464, which is alleged to have occurred on August 28th, 2020. And this one is the possession with intent to deliver, the assaulting, resisting, obstructing, and the habitual thirds. In that case, there was a bond, initial bond, and in that case is pending. Then we have 2123804, which is a charge of assaulting, resisting, obstructing a police officer as a habitual third from November 28th, 2020. Here, it's alleged that the defendant was stopped and ran from the police on foot. And then we have 2123805, which is from December 28th, 2020. And here it's a possession of methamphetamine and for some reason no drug double charge. Felony firearm, which is a 2-year mandatory sentence preceding any other. Felon in possession of a firearm, fleeing and eluding a police officer as habitual thirds. And that is alleged to have occurred on, as I said, December 28th, 2020. And then what happened in the other two cases is we had a status conference set, and he was a no-show in March of 2021. So a warrant was issued, and he was then arrested on April 17th on that. And I set bonds in these cases at $50,000. So that's where the bond's currently set in file 2023445 is $50,000, and in 2023464, which are the two cases up today, that bond is set at $50,000. Okay, so with that, Mr. Bush.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Chambers has been proactive. It's obvious by his acknowledgement he does have a drug issue with methamphetamine. He has been screened through SWEMBA. He has a bed available, I think, this week at the Gilmore Center in Kalamazoo, Michigan. He wants to start taking care of his addiction. He's asking the court to grant him a personal practice bond solely for the purpose of attending the Gilmore program, and upon discharge or release, he would have to turn himself back into the St. Joseph County Jail.
Mr. Gabriel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, Mr. Chambers' criminal history also includes a prior conviction for methamphetamine involvement. It's commendable that he's been locked up and not able to post bond. Now he's decided to try to initiate some kind of treatment. It certainly would have been much more moving had these other times he'd gotten out on bond, he'd done it. Instead, we have a clear pattern for some reason, almost on whatever happened in his life on the 28th day of a month. Seems to be a good day to find himself arrested, but it's gotten progressively worse. While we start out with meth, we go to larger quantities, and then on, I believe, the last case in 1228, he not only has the meth, he flees in a car. My recollection is he crashes that car. He's carrying a loaded pistol with him. And clearly he's got a pattern of not being the most cooperative individual with law enforcement. I think he clearly is a risk to the public, to law enforcement in particular, should they have any contact with him. And in addition to that, he would be a flight risk in that the guidelines scoring, for example, just in the one that we were dealing with prior to that, with his prior record variable, and then the difficulty dealing with the police, is going to be somewhere in the range of 3 years. He might not even be boot camp eligible. So there's a potential flight risk given a clear pattern of violation of the law that I think dictates that his bond stay the way it is.
Anything final, Mr. Bush?
No, Your Honor.
All right, well, you have an attorney, Mr. Chambers. Is there anything you'd like to add, though? I mean, you can.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to add that starting 3 years ago, I did acquire a meth addiction problem, and the further it got, the more quantity, the bigger the quantity uses got.
Okay, stop. I don't want you talking about anything in the facts of the case, okay?
Okay. The worse my addiction got worse, Your Honor, and I seen my life spiraling down, Your Honor, and I just feel like God has a calling on my life. I had a near-death experience, and I think that this being able to get accepted into the Gilmore Center, having my Medicaid to be able to fund it, and having a bunk open where the nurse can see me tomorrow is just a blessing from God. And I just want to say that I am trying to get on the right track to get my life back together, and I do think that this Gilmore Center program can be the start of doing that.
All right. All right. It is commendable that you recognize the issues that you've had and the issues that you're suffering from. It also is commendable that you've reached out to CMH. You know, unfortunately, the seriousness of these cases are what I have to take into account in the volume of them, and recognizing your issue. The Gilmore Center is nice. It does nothing more than what you've been doing for the last 2 months, though. You can't get treatment in 2 weeks or 10 days, which is what Gilmore will cover on the Medicaid part. They'll hold you for a week to 10 days, maybe. You've already done that. And so the risks outweigh the benefits. And Gilmore Center does nothing more than just start the process, and you've already started that while in custody. So it's not a treatment program. It's just an introduction to try and help you out, but it's not what you need in terms of long-term care. And your level of addiction, by the seriousness of these cases and the rapidity of the repeat performances in these cases, the allegations would suggest that your addiction is very strong, and the risk of you not turning yourself in is very high, and the risk to yourself and the public is very high. So I'm not going to lower bond. That treatment program, if you find it valuable, will be there for you the minute we're done with these cases, and will continue to be there for you. In the meantime, take advantage of the programs at the jail and the CMH that Lisa and the others will do. limited as it is right now with COVID, but at least you're on the track. So I commend you, as the prosecutor did, for seeking help with this. I don't feel that the risks, I feel that the risks outweigh the benefits of a Gilmore Center 1 week to 10-day stay. So with that, the motion is denied, and we'll set it for trial this week, and so we can prepare. Or
Thank you,
not this
Judge.
week. It's set for trial at the end of the month, and we can prepare.